So TEC Edmonton is a joint venture between the City of Edmonton, or Edmonton Economic Development Corporation, and the University of Alberta. And so we're very focused on spinning out companies. We have a tech transfer group, which is very focused on looking at new technologies that are coming out of the university and looking at supporting them in terms of patent filings and looking for some freedom to operate for those companies. We also have an entrepreneurship development group that really are focused on training seminars for companies. And then there's the group that I'm a part of. As an executive in residence, I'm focused on providing services. And so we have a variety of EIRs in the healthcare group, focused on financing, focused on regulatory services, focused on M&A, corporate financing, partnering, licensing, which is largely the piece that I do. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, companies, I find, and certainly the struggle with the companies that we have typically is around preparation with respect to understanding their strategic direction and their focus with respect to the product. So, a lot of them are amazing technologies that have some great science behind the work, but without understanding properly their valuation, without properly understanding their capital needs, without understanding when their major inflection points are, when their major milestones, development milestones are, and how they're going to get there and how they're going to fund that, it becomes very difficult to sell that to venture capital, to groups like us who are looking to support companies if the company themselves don't really have some of that direction. And so we, if a company comes to us and lacks that, we try to help them through that so that we can figure out the best way to help them as well. We leverage our technology transfer group quite a bit to do that, but certainly, I mean, in terms of new mechanisms of action, disruptive technologies are really good, but also, I mean, they have to have the basics in terms of freedom to operate, proper IP filing, and even a management structure with the right people to help drive the company forward. And again, if they're lacking some of those, and not every company has every piece of the puzzle, we will try to help them with that. But we use a variety of criteria, including management, including technology, manufacturing capability, financing, and capital structure to help look at where we can add the most value and how we can help our companies in our industry move forward the best. Primarily, so TEC Edmonton being a startup and spin-out company, primarily are focused on helping those companies. Most of our network in terms of financing is in the angel side or on the government side. So the government piece has been very well developed now in Alberta. They've launched some very good support within some certain institutes, Alberta Innovates Institutes, to help companies with the proper granting and help in business planning, market assessment, regulatory services, clinical trials, which has been great. On the financing side, from an investor perspective, primarily we deal with angels, and primarily, given that it's Alberta, we deal with a lot of oil and gas companies and people who have made their wealth from oil and gas. So the high net worth individuals that we deal with primarily are from what's called the oil and gas and construction sectors, who have a personal interest in health and making an impact in that side. And so we try to connect with them on that way, and we develop an angel network to help push that along, which is great. It never hurts to get into a situation where you have a relationship and where you can get, we'll call it free consulting advice from potential partners to come in, or venture capital to come in when you need them. I mean, when you need it and when you're desperate, at that point it's too late really to start trying to build relationships to get that sales cycle done so that you can get the funding that you need. You need to be doing that ahead of time. But even to have those relationships and to have pharma companies coming in and providing advice on design your clinical trial this way, we love the data, think about this, think about regulatory, or think about who your payers are going to be, and to be able to provide some thoughts to help the company devise their strategy. I mean, all of that is great advice, and you would hate to get to the point where you think you've hit your major inflection point, have had none of those discussions with pharma companies, and having them say, you know what, you missed a lot of steps here that we would have taken if we were to develop this product, and so we're not interested in partnering with you.
So it's really getting ahead of the game, getting some mentoring in there and some prep done.
Absolutely. So I sat on the panel and certainly spoke, but largely networking. And so again, it's some of that relationship building that we've talked about in meeting with companies and meeting with venture capital and financing sources to help some of the companies that we have in Alberta and to help them moving forward from a financing perspective.